our thoughts really ours, and how important is it for us on a spiritual awakening path to ensure the safety of our spiritual autonomy? Why is spiritual autonomy so vital eventually for us to literally walk our path on our own as whole beings? As we begin to stitch the parts of us together, as we begin to bring the fragmented sense of self together into a whole version of self, you will be able to identify that which is yours and that which is not yours. When we build an aversion towards conditioned existence so that we don't even want to own our DNA, we don't want to own any thought or pattern that was there before ours or that is there right now of another that is not. So a spiritually awakened person will get to the root of their zygote. Why is spiritual autonomy so vital? One, the thoughts that we vibrate with, the thoughts that we create, the thoughts that are the most dominant thoughts that are ours during the day, or the feelings, everything, our consciousness, will in itself become an entity that sits outside in the energy field. And what will keep us going back and forth is, as long as we remain the breeding ground that resonates with that field, that entity that we have created outside of us, we will keep going back and forth, so that however we are right now, if we are still not able to get into that whole point of self and we're still attached to habit, we will keep feeding this entity outside of ourselves, which morphs into an autonomous being in and of itself. So it'll keep asking you to feed it by you being the breeding ground as long as you remain in your fragmented sense of self. And remember, what happens when we are fragmented? We're full of holes. We're like a colander. So what we want to do is, step by step, try to seal the colander so that nothing can enter into that, and that we own our energy by identifying exactly what is our unique blueprint. The second reason why spiritual autonomy is so vital is, apart from our own thoughts becoming entities outside of us, we have masters, angels, spiritual teachers, beings that sit in the astral plane. So you might have noticed sometimes that you're suddenly inspired to do something, and you don't know whether it is coming from you primarily, or is it something that is being planted inside of you. This, let's divide it into one that is a contraction of expansion of consciousness, and one that is an expansion of consciousness, ultimately leading you onto your autonomy, your autonomous spiritual being, without the feel or the need to have a crutch outside of you, whether it is for validation, approval, or something for you to hang on to. Because remember, the entirety of infinity is within us. Us, as this individuate sense of self, can also become the enlightened self that contains the entire universe within us. That we are all separate is simply an illusion. The third reason why spiritual autonomy is so vital, now this is in relation to those who are presently incarnate, whether this is your spiritual teachers, your guides, or content that we follow. As long as we follow, they grow. As long as we subscribe, they grow. But, and this is a really big but, you know whether you want to follow and subscribe, or whether you want to go along with this, when you know that that teacher or that guide will teach you to let go when you're ready to let go, and not unnecessarily let you hold on to them, because as long as you hold on, they grow. As long as they hold on to you, they grow. So that relationship is not really teacher and guide. Again, it's a leader-follow mentality. Again, it is you do something for me, I do something for you. It's transactional, and that transaction carries on. So autonomy is very important, so that whether you're a guide or a teacher, you can still exist without your followers, without your students, without those subscribing to you. And similarly, as a student, if you're here as a seeker, if you're here because you want to learn, to unlearn, and you want to unravel the mystery of you, you do that until you get to a point where you no longer need to sit in that boat of that cocoon or that comfort zone. That is why spiritual autonomy is absolutely important, and it comes as soon as we become whole, as soon as we claim who we are, and as soon as we claim everything that we are from the outside to back to the inside. And it's a constant practice. It's a constant practice so that you know, are these my thoughts? Is this me? Is this me? Am I being spiritually autonomous? Where can I see myself signing up to things that are not even mine? Are the thoughts that I'm creating right now coming from me or coming from somewhere else, that are coming from somewhere else, because I am still identifying with a fragmented sense of self, which identifies with I am this body and all the shit and the crap that this body has gone through, including all the imprints, the karma, and everything else. As soon as we're able to rise above that karma, you give birth to the Buddha in you. You give birth to you, and that's where the enlightenment lies. That's what it is when you let go. And some say, oh, that's when you become Krishna. That's when you become all of these ideas or concepts or people or human or gods that we are aspiring towards, or some of us are. Remember, spiritual autonomy is an offshoot of a true, profound spiritual awakening. And it is absolutely vital that you embrace all that makes you uncomfortable so that you can grow beyond your triggers and don't get stuck in this colander that we have created of the fragmented sense of self. So eventually you walk, talk your light, and you become absorbing light in the story of your own life. Lots of love. Happy awakening.